This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. This is a sponsored message. I've been using Anchor as my podcast host for a while now, and it's been a pleasure to use. Anchor offers benefits that most other hosts do not. It's free to use, but it also has a collection of tools that allow you to create a podcast completely within the Anchor website or smartphone app. They distribute your show to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other distribution channels without any additional effort on your part, and you can make money from your podcast without any minimum audience size. So you can use it as a more traditional podcast host like I do, but it's also got everything you need to start a podcast from scratch. If you're keen to give it a shot, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's Thursday, September 22nd, 2022. Let's talk about the news. From Reuters, Putin orders troop conscription in Ukraine war escalation. Marking the first such conscription since World War II, the Russian government has ordered a partial troop mobilization, shocking Russian citizens and sparking protests across the country. This mobilization ostensibly only impacts Russian citizens aged 18 to 60 with previous military training, though the wording was fuzzy enough to allow multiple interpretations, and one-way flights to other countries from Russia reached a fever pitch leading up to and just after the announcement, before the Russian government started preventing men of fighting age from leaving the country. More than 1,300 people were reportedly arrested for joining protests across Russia, and one Russian official estimated that no more than 300,000 people would be conscripted into the military from a potential pool of about 25 million. The government also said that the contracts of professional soldiers would be extended indefinitely. From Bloomberg, Powell signals more pain to come with Fed sending rates higher. U.S. Fed Chair Jerome Powell met investor expectations yesterday by announcing a third 75 basis point interest rate increase, alongside very clear signals that he intended to raise the rate still further through the end of this year. This marks the third straight 0.75 of a percentage point interest rate increase by Powell, and he suggested that the interest rate would reach 4.4% by the end of this year and 4.6% in 2023, up from its current range of 3 to 3.25%. Which would likely cause unemployment to reach something like 4.4% by the end of next year from its current 3.7%. And from the Associated Press, border crossings soar among Venezuelans, according to U.S. officials. Fewer migrants are arriving at southern U.S. borders from Mexico, and some Central American countries have halted illegal migration entirely. But the number of Venezuelans illegally crossing U.S. borders and taken into custody has dramatically increased in August to 25,349 encounters, which is up 43% from July and 4 times higher than in August of 2021. That's still only a fraction of the 213,593 encounters Border Patrols had with illegal border crossers in August. But these numbers are quite high by historical standards, reportedly in part because there are no legal consequences for attempting to cross the border. So a lot of people who are caught and released simply try again soon after. And folks making their way to the U.S. border from Venezuela have usually crossed some fairly dangerous geography to get there, so turning around to go home isn't always a survivable option. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com, and you can support this and other related projects, like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts at understandery.com.